Ambassador Kira Chen represents humanity at the Galactic Conclave, making Earth's first official appearance among the thousands of species that form the interstellar community. The diplomatic reception is held in a breathtaking crystal hall that shifts and reconfigures itself to accommodate the physiological needs of each attendee, a display of technological advancement that makes humanity's greatest achievements seem like child's play. While trying to navigate the bewildering array of alien protocols, Kira accidentally interrupts a sacred greeting ritual between two jellyfish-like Morithians, creating a diplomatic incident within minutes of arrival. As she fumbles through an apology, high-ranking dignitaries from the dominant Vexari Imperium corner her, their translucent exoskeletons pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that signal clear disdain. "Tell us about this Earth of yours," demands the Vexari Prime Consul, voice dripping with condescension. We hear such fascinating claims. Kira displays holographic images of Earth's environments, from ice storms ravaging Arctic tundras to Category 5 hurricanes, from predators hunting in dense rainforests to volcanic eruptions. Rather than impressed, the aliens exchange knowing glances and erupt into chittering laughter. Another Deathworlder claiming their species is exceptional. The Vexari Prime Consul scoffs, using the term mockingly. Every cycle, a new species emerges with these fantastical tales. The Juraxians claim to survive stellar radiation. The Kith very boasted of breathing corrosive atmospheres. All exaggerations. The gathered diplomats share increasingly outlandish stories of previous civilizations who claimed harsh origins only to crumble when facing real challenges. One 8-limbed envoy mimes collapsing dramatically, sending the group into another round of laughter. As Kira's cheeks burn with humiliation, she notices one silent observer, Seltheres, a massively built, battle-scared representative from the rarely seen Akrelian Dominion. Unlike the others, he studies her with unsettling intensity, 4 crimson eyes narrowed in what appears to be recognition. Or is it fear? The mockery continues through the reception. A thin, serpentine diplomat slithers beside Kira as she retreats to a quiet corner. "Don't mind the Vexari," it whispers through a translator device that emits puffs of scented vapor with each word. "They treat all newcomers this way, especially those who challenge their biological superiority narrative." "I wasn't challenging anything," Kira responds, maintaining her composure despite her inner fury. "I merely stated facts about Earth. Facts that contradict their worldview." The serpentine alien replies. "The Conclave categorizes worlds on a habitability index. Class 1 worlds are paradise planets. Temperate, resource-rich, with negligible environmental hazards. The Vexari evolved on one such world. They believe this makes them inherently superior." "And Earth?" Kira asks. "Based on your description, at least Class 8, possibly 9. What your kind calls a Deathworld." The alien's compound eyes blink rapidly. No sentient species has emerged from anything beyond Class 6 in recorded history. It's statistically improbable. Hence their disbelief. Before Kira can respond, a thunderous voice cuts through the chamber's ambient sounds. The Prime Consul stands on a hovering platform, addressing the gathering. "As is tradition, we welcome our newest provisional member, Earth, with the right of introduction. Ambassador Chen will now present her species' greatest technological achievement for evaluation." Kira freezes. No one had briefed her on this tradition. She suspects it's been invented specifically to humiliate her. With trembling hands, she retrieves Earth's offering, a quantum entanglement communicator, humanity's proudest achievement. As she holds it up, the Prime Consul gestures, and a similar device materializes beside him. "How charming," he chitters. "The Vexari developed this technology 12,000 cycles ago. We now use it primarily as children's toys." The chamber fills with laughter once more, but as Kira looks around, she catches Seltheres moving toward the exit. The massive Akrelian pauses, turning those 4 crimson eyes in her direction. He makes a subtle gesture, 3 clawed fingers pressed to his chest, then extended toward her, before disappearing through the doorway. Only later would she learn this was the Akrelian warrior's salute, normally reserved for respected enemies. 3 months into Earth's humiliating probationary membership, during which humans are relegated to observer status and menial diplomatic tasks, the Conclave faces an unprecedented crisis. A dormant hyperspace nexus suddenly reactivates in the Cygnus arm with a blinding flash that permanently blinds several Ocularian delegates who witness it through observatory feeds. The nexus unleashes gravitational waves that shred 2 inhabited moons into asteroid fields within days. Predictive models show the distortions will reach major population centers within weeks, potentially killing billions. The ancient facility controlling the nexus must be accessed and shut down, but it orbits a planet the Conclave designates Terminus, a hellscape of crushing gravity, caustic atmosphere, and temperatures that swing from near absolute zero to molten lead within hours. Holographic displays show the gruesome fates of 3 previous expeditions, the last ending with footage of elite Vexeri commandos being dissolved alive by atmospheric acid, while their ship's eye transmits their screams across 17 sectors. During the emergency session, as species panic and blame each other, Ambassador Chen makes a bold move. She strides to the central podium, violating protocol, and volunteers humanity for the mission. The chamber falls silent before erupting in derisive laughter. The primitive proposes to succeed where our greatest heroes failed. The Vexeri consul's voice booms through the chamber. He projects horrifying images from the failed missions alongside humanity's technological specifications. Your species still uses combustion engines and projectile weapons. Your biological frailty is legendary. You can't even regenerate lost limbs. Kira stands her ground amid the mockery, her calm voice cutting through the chaos. Yet we survive conditions on Earth that would kill most of you within minutes. After heated deliberation, and with no better options, the Conclave reluctantly approves a joint mission. A team of elite alien specialists, supervised by Commander Darius Hayes, a scared veteran of Earth's resource wars, who arrives at the Conclave wearing an outdated combat exosuit that the aliens mistake for primitive ceremonial armor. His first confrontation with the Vexeri mission coordinators ends with him crushing the supposedly unbreakable alloy demonstration cube with his bare hand. The mission team assembles on the Conclave hub station, a tense environment where the human contingent is quarantined in a separate habitat module for their protection. Hayes witnesses the alien specialists training with technology that seems magical. Phase-shifting bodysuits, neural-linked weapons platforms, and adaptive physiologies that can temporarily evolve new organs to match environmental challenges. Sub-Admiral Vexnar, the Vexeri mission commander, schedules a demonstration exercise that's clearly designed to humiliate the humans. In a sealed chamber mimicking Terminus conditions, the alien specialists showcase their advanced capabilities while subtly sabotaging the humans' equipment. When Hayes' exosuit fails, he shocks everyone by continuing the exercise unprotected, enduring conditions that should be lethal. Primitive theatrics, Vexnar dismisses afterward. The simulation was calibrated for scientific accuracy, not your species' delusional heroics. That night, Hayes finds Seltheras waiting in his quarters, having bypassed security systems that were supposed to be impenetrable. I needed to confirm what I suspected. The massive Akrelian says, displaying a hologram of what appears to be an ancient battlefield littered with both Akrelian and human remains. 2,000 cycles ago, a lost human colony ship crashed in Akrelian space. Your ancestors fought mine to extinction in that sector before we negotiated peace. The records were purged from Conclave archives, but my people remember. His 4 eyes fix on Hayes with something between respect and dread. We alone recognize what Deathworld truly means. Your kind doesn't evolve despite hardship. You become stronger because of it. Meanwhile, Kira faces her own battles in the diplomatic sphere. During a crucial resource allocation meeting, she discovers the mission has been deliberately underfunded, with critical supplies diverted. When she confronts the logistics minister, he reveals the truth. Many Conclave species are betting on the mission's failure, with the Vexari leadership placing the largest wagers. Furious, Kira leverages this information to blackmail key officials into providing proper support, while secretly transmitting specifications to Earth for custom equipment. Her diplomatic finesse impresses even her critics, though one Conclave elder warns her, "You're making powerful enemies who will outlive your species' brief candle in the cosmos." The stakes escalate further when a rogue gravitational wave from the Nexus tears through a Vexari colony world, killing millions in minutes. Scientific models now predict the cascade effect will reach Earth's sector within months, not years, and evidence suggests the Nexus is not malfunctioning, but deliberately weaponized. The mission vessel exits hyperspace near Terminus, immediately shuddering as gravitational forces twist its hull. Through observation ports, the team gets their first glimpse of the nightmare world, a churning hellscape where continents of black glass float on seas of liquid metal beneath storms that rain molecular acid. In the preparation bay, the contrast between approaches becomes stark. The alien specialists activate personalized gear costing more than Earth's entire space program. Adaptive exoskeletons that interface directly with their nervous systems, shield generators that bend physics, and weapons that manipulate quantum states. Meanwhile, the humans unpack equipment that appears jarringly obsolete. Mechanical backups with no electronics, fabrics chemically treated to resist corrosion, modified analog instruments, and projectile weapons that contain no circuitry. Those museum pieces won't last 5 minutes on the surface. Sub-Admiral Vexnar sneers, his exoskeleton pulsing with contemptuous light patterns. Hayes taps the reinforced glass of Vexnar's helmet with a metal wrench. When your fancy shields fail and your quantum interfaces go dark, what's your backup plan? Vexnar's translator struggles to convey his dismissive response. Superior technology doesn't require backup plans. The descent begins with precise formation flying that quickly dissolves into chaos when they enter the atmosphere. An electromagnetic pulse from an unexpected storm front fries navigation systems. Comms dissolve into panic shouting across 17 languages as landing craft scattered like leaves. Hayes' shuttle pilot manages an emergency landing that crushes half the vessel but keeps the human team alive. Through cracked viewports, they witness the catastrophic failure of 2 other shuttles, one vaporized by lightning, another crashing at terminal velocity when its anti-gravity systems fail. The humans emerge onto the surface using manual escape hatches while environmental alarms scream warnings. The atmosphere burns throats and eyes even through protection. The gravity makes every movement an exhausting battle. Temperature sensors fluctuate wildly as metallic hail pounds their position. They discover the scattered survivors, 7 of the original 20 alien specialists, their advanced systems malfunctioning or dead. Sub-Admiral Vexnard is found half-conscious, his exoskeleton locked in position, life support failing. When Hayes' team cuts him free using primitive tools, the Admiral's translator manages one phrase before failing. "Impossible. We're 20 kilometers off target. No one could survive a surface trek here." Hayes checks his analog compass and the backup paper maps they'd prepared. "Then I guess we better start walking." The journey across Terminus becomes a nightmarish crucible that reshapes everyone who survives it. By the second day, 3 more alien specialists perish when their rebreathers fail during a toxic fog bank. The humans improvise filtration masks using materials salvaged from the wreckage, sharing them with the remaining aliens. The landscape itself seems alive with malice. Fields of crystal that shatter explosively at the slightest vibration, pools of liquid that ignite on contact with organic matter, and sudden gravity wells that nearly pulled 2 team members into crushing oblivion. The power dynamics shift with every kilometer. Zex Alia, a 4-armed Teslarian physicist, watches in disbelief as Hayes repairs her supposedly irreparable exoskeleton cooling system using primitive thermodynamics and parts cannibalized from a ration eater. Our neural interfaces are designed to operate their technology automatically, she realizes. When they fail, we're helpless. But you understand how everything works. During a brutally cold night cycle where temperatures plummet to near absolute zero, the team huddles in a cave of heat-radiating minerals that Hayes identified using techniques learned from desert survival on Earth. Sub-Admiral Vexnar, previously contemptuous, now watches silently as the humans rotate guard duty without complaint, despite the punishing conditions. When acidic rain begins to fall, droplets that hiss and smoke on contact with their gear, the humans quickly improvise shelters using heat-fused glass and principles of basic chemistry. Vexnar, his protective field generator sputtering and failing, is forced to accept sanctuary in Hayes' jury-rigged shelter. How? Vexnar demands as Hayes patches a corrosive burn on the alien's exoskeleton using a medical kit that seems primitive compared to Conclave technology. How are you surviving when my people's best technology is failing? Your species has none of our advancements. Because Earth makes this place look like a resort. Hayes replies, cauterizing the wound with steady hands. See that storm on the horizon? On Earth, we call that Tuesday. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day in 1,000 different ways. We didn't advance beyond hardship. We advanced because of it. That night, as the battered team finally sleeps, Lieutenant Park, Hayes' second in command, notices movement patterns in her peripheral vision. Using the analog recording device they brought for documentation, she captures fleeting images of something impossibly large moving through the toxic wastelands surrounding their position. "Commander," she whispers, showing Hayes the footage, "this planet is supposed to be uninhabited. So what the hell is stalking us?" When they reach a massive chasm blocking their path to the facility, Zeltheres makes a disturbing discovery. The edges show tool marks. This wasn't natural. The Akrelian growls. Someone doesn't want us reaching that facility. After crossing the chasm using a makeshift bridge constructed from wreckage parts, a feat of engineering that even Zexalia acknowledges as impressive primitive ingenuity, the decimated team finally reaches the ancient facility. The massive structure rises from the toxic landscape like an obsidian cathedral, its architecture both beautiful and ominous with geometric patterns that hurt human eyes when viewed directly. Their first breach attempt ends in disaster. Maintenance drones swarm from concealed compartments, not the simple repair units mentioned in Conclave records, but weaponized machines with cutting beams and adaptive shielding. 2 more alien specialists die in seconds, their advanced energy weapons passing harmlessly through the drone's defenses. The survivors retreat to a sheltered outcropping, down to just Hayes, Lieutenant Park, and 3 medics from the human contingent, plus Vexnar, Exeltheres, and the physicist Zexalia. The Admiral's arrogance has been replaced by shell-shocked defeat. "It's over," Vexnar states flatly. "The drones adapt to any energy signature we use. Nothing in our arsenal can penetrate their defenses." Hayes disassembles his rifle, modifying components while explaining his analysis. Those drones are programmed to counter energy weapons and high-tech threats. They're scanning for specific signatures, quantum fluctuations, plasma discharge patterns, neural interfaces. "So we're defeated by our own advancement," Zexalia says bitterly. "No," Hayes replies, reassembling what now looks like a completely different weapon. "We attack them with something so primitive they don't recognize it as technology." He unveils an unorthodox plan using physical projectile weapons, mechanical traps, and chemical reactions, technologies the Conclave species had abandoned millennia ago. Lieutenant Park improvises explosive charges using chemicals from their medical kits, while the remaining team creates decoys from their damaged equipment. Exeltheres watches with growing recognition. "This is what the ancestral records described," he tells Hayes privately. "The human colonial forces who fought my people used these same principles. When our adaptive shields could block any energy weapon, your ancestors used chemical propellants and kinetic impacts." Akrelian military academies study those battles even now, though few believe the accounts. The plan works with brutal efficiency. The drones, programmed to counter advanced threats, fail to recognize the danger from chemically propelled metal projectiles and mechanical triggers. The team fights their way through 3 defensive layers, the humans taking point with their primitive weapons while the surviving aliens watch in astonishment. In the facility's inner sanctum, they discover the horrifying truth. The control terminals show the Nexus wasn't accidentally activated. Someone deliberately calibrated it to create a precise pattern of gravitational disturbances targeting specific worlds. The gravitational weapons have been modified with Vexari technology, and the command logs show multiple users accessing the system over the past year. Merciful Cosmos, Zexalia whispers, analyzing the data. The distortion pattern. It will eventually create a gravitational resonance cascade that will collapse the entire Cygnus arm. Trillions will die, including Earth, Hayes realizes grimly. We weren't brought here to fail. We were brought here to die with everyone else. As they work to override the Nexus controls, the facility's inner doors slide open to reveal the true architects of catastrophe. A splinter faction of Vexari evolutionists, led by none other than the Prime Consul's chief scientist, Dr. Vexmorith, accompanied by the shadowy figures that had been stalking the team across Terminus. Fascinating, Vexmorith says, studying the battered survivors with clinical detachment. Of all our test subjects, only the Deathworlders reached the core. The experiment yields valuable data. The horrifying truth emerges. The extremists believe most conclave species have grown soft through technological advancement, their evolutionary potential stagnating. They've engineered a controlled extinction event to prune the weak while preserving selected worthy populations in shielded habitats. The Nexus activation is merely phase 1 of their grand evolution, a galaxy-wide eugenics program. You expected us to die on this hellscape, Hayes realizes. You wanted to prove humans weren't special. Yet here you stand, Vexmorith acknowledges, proving perhaps you might be worthy of preservation after all. The conspirators have modified themselves with prohibited biotechnology that makes them formidable opponents. Adaptive muscle structures, toxin glands, reinforced skeletons. The shadowy figures flanking them are revealed as genetically engineered apex predators, created specifically for Terminus, explaining the strange tracks they'd encountered. A vicious battle erupts in the control chamber. The engineered creatures move with terrifying speed, while the modified Vexari wield weapons that bypass conventional defenses. Zexalia falls protecting Vexnar, her last act, using her exoskeleton's power core to overload one creature's nervous system. The humans employ guerrilla tactics that confound their technologically superior enemies, using the environment, improvising weapons from facility components, and coordinating without electronic communications. Lieutenant Park rigs the facility's ventilation system to disperse a sedative from their medical supplies, temporarily disorienting several opponents. Hayes proves the most alarming combatant of all. Where the aliens expected technical inferiority to result in swift defeat, they instead face a fighter trained in dozens of combat disciplines specifically designed to counter superior opponents. He doesn't just fight with strength, but with psychological warfare, using patterns of retreat and advance that lure opponents into traps. Zeltheris fights alongside Hayes with growing respect, the two forming an unlikely battle partnership. Your species fights like you expect to lose. The Akrelian observes between skirmishes, yet somehow that makes you more dangerous. When you come from a Deathworld, Hayes replies, improvising a weapon from broken machinery, you learn that survival often depends on being underestimated. The tide turns when Vexmorith targets Sub-Admiral Vexnar, his own cousin, with a disintegration weapon. Hayes throws himself into the beam's path, suffering catastrophic burns across his torso, but giving Vexnar the opening to disable his kinsman with a decisive strike. As Hayes collapses, the remaining team members rally around his final plan, rerouting the facility's coolant system to rapidly lower the chamber temperature, exploiting a weakness in the bioengineered predator's metabolisms that he had observed during their journey. The creatures collapse in the sudden cold, while the modified Vexari find their augmentations failing as specialized chemicals solidify in their systems. With the conspirators subdued, a critically injured Hayes directs his Exalia through the complex shutdown sequence while fighting to remain conscious. As the Nexus finally powers down, Vex Morith, restrained but defiant, delivers a final taunt. "You've changed nothing. The Conclave will never truly accept primitives who crawled from the mud so recently. We are millions of years your evolutionary seniors." Through blood-flecked lips, Hayes manages a reply that silences even the zealot. "We didn't just crawl out of the mud. We conquered it. That's what you don't understand about Deathworlders. We don't need millions of years of evolution. We adapt or die in a single generation. And we rarely choose to die." The return journey from Terminus becomes its own legend. With the facility's emergency beacon activated, a Conclave rescue vessel retrieves the survivors. Hayes spends the voyage in critical condition, his survival uncertain despite advanced medical technology. The captured conspirators face justice, while the evidence of their plot is transmitted ahead to the Conclave. When the rescue ship arrives at the hub station, they find the political landscape already transformed. Ambassador Chen has leveraged the mission telemetry, which Vexnar had secretly transmitted during their ordeal, into a diplomatic revolution. Footage of humans surviving conditions that killed elite alien specialists has gone viral across Conclave communication networks. The attempted galaxy-wide genocide plot rocks the Conclave to its foundations. Multiple Vexari officials are implicated, and the discovery that they specifically selected Earth for destruction because they feared humanity's potential creates a seismic shift in perspective about the primitive Deathworlders. In an unprecedented ceremony broadcast across 17,000 worlds, Sub-Admiral Vexnar, now elevated to First Admiral after his cousin's disgrace, presents Commander Hayes with the Star of Ultimate Valor, an honor previously reserved for founding species. Hayes attends in a mobility exoframe, his body still recovering from injuries that would have killed any Conclave species. "I once laughed at the concept of Deathworlders," Vexnar announces to the assembly, his translator conveying genuine emotion. "I believe advanced technology and evolutionary age determined a species' worth. I was wrong. Humanity's greatest technology isn't their tools, it's their adaptability. Their greatest weapon isn't their firepower, it's their refusal to surrender." The Akrelian delegation, led by Excel Theres, approaches the podium with ceremonial gravity. In a ritual not performed for 10,000 years, they formally acknowledge humanity as Krell Vortach, true Deathworlders, and reveal ancient historical archives showing previous human-Akrelian contact. The designation sends ripples of both fear and respect through the assembly. Later, in the diplomatic reception hall, the same crystal chamber where Kara was once humiliated, the new Vexari Central Representative approaches her with surprising deference. "We fundamentally misunderstood what creates a truly advanced civilization," the Vexari admits, bowing lower than protocol requires. "My species evolved in gentle environments that required little adaptation. We built our technologies because we could, not because we needed to survive. Your people had to overcome their world before they could reach for the stars." Kira smiles, but there's a new edge to her diplomacy. Everyone laughed at the Deathworld legend. She replies, raising her glass in a toast that the assembled diplomats rush to join. "But perhaps now you understand. Earth didn't make us weak. It forged us into something the galaxy has never seen before. And we're just getting started." 3 cycles later, as humanity integrates into the Conclave with unprecedented speed, long-range sensors detect a massive fleet approaching from beyond the galactic rim. The vessels use technology beyond even Conclave understanding and easily obliterate the first defense outposts they encounter. In the emergency session that follows, the Conclave's Supreme Administrator turns to the human delegation, now led jointly by Hayes and Chen. These invaders evolved in environments even harsher than Earth, the administrator explains, displaying bioscans of the new threat. Our analysts believe only Deathworlders have any chance of understanding how to counter their strategies. Hayes and Chen exchange a look, remembering the mockery of their first days in the Conclave. We'll need everything the Conclave can provide, Hayes says, already formulating plans. And contact Earth immediately. Tell them to send more Deathworlders. As the gathered representatives of 17,000 worlds look to humanity with desperate hope rather than derision, Kira allows herself a small private smile. No one is laughing at the Deathworld legend anymore. The end.